Thank you all so much for speaking with me today. I'm really looking forward to talking with you all and hearing all about the film. So my first question is for Eitan. So you both wrote and directed the film, which was inspired by actual conversations between your father and Lansky before his death. So could you talk about that and how you used those conversations as inspiration to inform your script?
Yeah, well, my father is a history professor. His name is Robert Rocco, and he wrote a book about gangsters. It's called But He Was Good to His Mother. And he interviewed a lot of gangsters throughout his life. And one of them was Mayor Lansky just before he died. And he had all this research on him. And that was the inspiration. I mean, I grew up with these stories about gangsters. And then Danny came to me one day and he said, I would love to do a movie about Mayor Lansky because Mayor Lansky was one of the most famous and powerful gangsters in American history. And I also wanted to do one. And I had all this information from my father. So that was the spark that started that whole process.
That's so incredible. It's a really unique story and a really great perspective to have on the film. And then my next question is for Danny. So you sometimes portray characters that are more on like the mobster side of things. And then in Lansky, your role is flipped because you play an FBI agent. So I'm curious what that experience was like.
It was great. I mean, I really wanted to play Lansky, but Eitan wouldn't let me. I mean, as an actor, I want to play anything that's interesting and something that would challenge me. I've never played an FBI agent. And when this opportunity came and Eitan said, I think you'd be great in this, I was just excited. I mean, I did a little bit of research and kind of like figured out what the tone would be. But beside that, I just went with my gut and I loved it. It was awesome.
So then my next question is actually for David. And so I'm curious what initially attracted you to the film and the role of Frank?
I was doing another movie with the producer, Rob Barnum. At the time, I was doing Spinning Out with in New Orleans. And I remember I was coming back from grabbing some coffee at Starbucks and he said, hey, man, I got another movie. There's a role in here that I think you would be great for. You want to read it? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I read it and I loved it. I mean, it was such a great script, and I'd always wanted to do a gangster film, So now, have I played an FBI agent before? I have. So that part I knew would be easy-ish. But it was such a great film and such a great cast, and that's what really excited me about it. And then I met and talked to Eitan, and I thought he was a great guy, and we had a great time. We're all friends now, Danny and Eitan and me, and so I just loved being a part of it. And of course, working with Harvey was a great attraction. I was doing this other film with Michael Shannon. So I don't know, you know what? I really love the experience, and it's always a massive plus when the film turns out to be as good as this one is, And I loved meeting Danny, and since then, Danny and I have done another movie that Danny directed and starred in called I Love Us, which is coming up. But Eitan sadly did not get a role in that film. I don't know. I think he had and Danny asked him.
I don't know if Eitan is ready for the big
ready in front of the camera.
In front of the camera, yeah. He has a little role in Lansky. Did you notice him?
He's in there?
Yeah, I'm in there, but like in the background, I have a little line.
You have a line.
I'll have to rewatch now. I'll look for it next time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what a great answer. Absolutely, yeah. And then back to Eitan. So as we've discussed, you both wrote and directed the film, which obviously puts you in a pretty unique spot because you get to sort of write the script and then see it come to life. So I'm curious if while you were writing the film, if there was a particular scene or moment that you were most looking forward to directing and then bringing to life on screen?
Well, yes, actually one of the moments that I really, really liked which is not in the movie because we had to cut it out because we shot the movie in 20 days in Alabama, which is not a long time. But I mean, I think for me, a lot of the action sequences I was very excited about because I tried making them as realistic as possible and showing the viciousness of that. So I was looking forward to that. And obviously, working with Harvey has such great scenes in the movie, and it's such a dramatic. The movie is about at the end of the day, the core of the movie is an older man coming to terms with his life, and just the performances were amazing. So anything that had Harvey in it, you know, in these dramatic roles, because I'm such a fan of his, was exciting to me.
Definitely. Yeah, those all the scenes. I mean, the whole movie was great, but those scenes were very, very well done and very great. And then my next question is for Danny. So I'm wondering if you could talk about the filming process. I know 20 days is crazy, and just what that whole experience was like, and maybe if you had a favorite scene to film.
Well, it was for me. It was tough. We went out, like Eitan said, we shot in Alabama, but I was my schedule was work 1 day, off 3 days, work 2 days, off a week, and so for me to be in Alabama and just not have not much to do, plus in the hotel that we were in, there was let's just say there was nothing there, right? So for me it was difficult just being there. But me and Eitan are friends for many years, for 20 years, and I felt at some point that I kind of became like his comfort zone. So I would wait for him to come home from work, and then he would just talk about his day, let out all his frustrations, and I just kind of like helped him with that. As far as what I got to shoot, look, you know, every time you get to be in a movie, especially with a cast like this, and I've just had so much passion for this project. Like Eitan said, I wanted this to be made for so long. I was just excited that it's actually happening. And then, you know, meeting David and working with him on the scenes, we kind of like hit it off right off the bat. So that was fun, just doing stuff with him. My favorite scene in the movie, I guess it was the one scene that we knock on his door and on David's door, Sam Worthington, and kind of like basically tell him that we want him to work with us. And I had a bunch of improvisation stuff that I was doing, and that was fun. So yeah.
Definitely, absolutely. That's great. And then for David, so the movie is well done from start to finish, and every scene is so incredible. So I'm sure it's very hard to pick out just one particular moment, but I'm curious if there's a certain scene that you are most excited for audience to see when the film comes out.
You know, I really loved working with Danny. It was great meeting and hanging with him, and so we had all the stuff that we did together. I mean, it's hard for me to pick out one particular scene. I mean, when I look back, I think they were all really fun. There was that one scene late at night in the office with the boxes, and you and I were just jamming. But you know what? So when I look back, it may just be the camaraderie of hanging with my new pal Danny, and then having Eitan in the background. What's that?
David, it's the one with the fill the fish, and we both go.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that was fun. Now, look, I mean, it's just, you know, when you go to a place that you've never been before, you're not familiar, you have no friends, you're in Alabama, away from your family, your friends. For me, the best part about making the movie was being with Eitan, watching him. This is something he's been waiting for, seeing his focus. And for me, I really enjoyed talking to him, understanding his process, and just being able to be there for him. And getting to meet David and spending time with him. I mean, all my scenes are with him. So it was just me and him against everyone else. And characters came in, but it was always me and him, and that was fun.
And
Let me say this. I loved Alabama. I didn't stay in the hotel with those guys. I stayed in a little town called Fairhope, and I had the best time. I found a great cigar store there. I was like the mayor of Fairhope. Walk into the cigar store on my many days off, the horns were honking everywhere. My hand was in the air constantly. Hey.
Yeah, when you're the star of JAG, they give you your own house. Me, I got a hotel.
You know what?
Room service, no bar.
I walked into the cigar store the first day. I saw they had a little lounge. I walked in and everyone looked at me like wide-eyed. They were looking at me very strangely. I'm like, why? What's going on here? Can I come in? And they went, and I looked to my right, and they had a big TV, and they were all sitting there watching Jag, and I watched it.
There you go.
I have to say that I'm from New York, and it was my first time in the Deep South, and shooting in Alabama. The people, sweet people, hardworking people, such a beautiful place. We really had an amazing time there. It was really, really welcoming and a great place to shoot a movie.
Food was great too, wasn't it? Food was great.
A lot of fried food, you know. I'm not
Especially, well, Tamara's. Did you eat at Tamara's? Harvey ate there every night, I know, and I ate there all the time. And Tammy became a close friend and still is. And that restaurant was dynamite. Danny kept leaving town, so he never gave Alabama a chance. Every moment he had, he went to Miami. And then he went to the Oscars.
In the hotel. I mean, I literally went and ate like microwave food every night.
Yeah, because you were living in that over there in that far corner of nowhere.
Yeah,
in the hotel, and Etam was working all day, so I get that your frustration with it.
My favorite part of the day was watching Danny go down to the lobby and asking for a microwave dinner. That was like the highlight of my day. The highlight.
I literally
guy.
I was just sitting in the lobby waiting for a familiar face to walk in. Like, hey, how you doing? Hey, you in the movie, right? So yeah, it was fun. I mean, now looking back, I mean, and then, you know, right before COVID hit, so throughout COVID, I'm thinking, take me back to Alabama. I'll go all day every day.
Exactly.
It sounds like it was definitely a whirlwind experience from, you know, loving Alabama to not being as crazy about it with microwave dinners. And then thankfully getting it done right before COVID hit and everything. So I just have one more question, and it's for Eitan. So it's kind of a two-parter. The first part is the movie has such an all-star cast all across the board, and I'm just wondering what it was like to direct and work with such an impressive cast. And then the second part of the question is, what do you hope audiences will take away from watching the film?
Well, I mean, the cast was amazing all around. When you're a director, you're just as good as the actors that you have. And I mean, everyone from Danny, David Elliott, David Cade, John Magaro, Anna Sophia Robb, Sam, Harvey Keitel. I mean, they're all just an amazing cast. And as a director, you know, you're capturing them for eternity. So they have to put the trust in you, but you also have to make sure that you make them look good. That's my contract with the actors. And I think that when people watch the movie, you know, the performances speak for themselves all across the board. What takeaway from the movie? I mean, for me, in a sense, I always deal with morality. Morality is a very big issue for me, good and bad, black and white. And I think in this movie, you know, Lansky was the type of person that he did a lot of good, he did a lot of bad, and he always kind of like lived on that thin gray line between the two. And I think people will question, you know, not only morality while watching this movie, but also what's important in life. So I think that's the core, in a sense, of the film.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a great answer. And again, a huge congratulations on the film to all of you. It is so incredible. And I think it'll really just be so great when everyone gets a chance to see it. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.